people on our side just sit on their ass and do nothing.
Yeah.
I could sit here and name you every excuse that they would say of why they have. Well, we have jobs and the left does. Like, I could just go down the list of every excuse and look at your country. Okay, wait, I saw somebody mention this before, and I'm not aware that there's a trucker protest, like a trucker protest.
Yeah, like Canada style? I haven't seen that either.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so Bill's saying there's supposedly a trucker protest starting on Monday. No taking or receiving loads until...
Phrasing.
We're both 12.
Interesting, yeah, right? Shout out to Leah. I just watched a video going into detail on the Mouse Utopia experiment. It's fucking chilling to see where the wokies are taking us if it's allowed to play out. Beware of the beautiful ones. Yeah, are you familiar with the Mouse Utopia?
No, tell me.
You know what? I would butcher it.
In 1968, an expert on animal behavior and population control called John B. Calhoun built what was essentially a utopia for mice that was purpose-built to satisfy their every need. Despite going out of his way to ensure the inhabitants of his perfect mouse society never wanted for anything, within 2 years, virtually the entire population was dead. So, what happened? At Universe 25, Calhoun's Mouse Utopia was built with the needs of its mouse inhabitants firmly in mind and was designed to specifically cater to their every whim. Containing plentiful food, water, bedding, and at least in space, the enclosure was described as follows.
Kinda like the lefties of today, and specifically people living in cities like where you just left.
I mean, I think people living in this country, period, we have it too good. People talk about privilege. The ultimate privilege is American privilege. We've had it too good for too long.
Yep.
And look at the results.
That could have gone better.
Yep. And
a tank, 101 inches square, enclosed by walls 54 inches high. The first 37 inches of wall was structured so that the mice could climb up, but they were prevented from escaping by 17 inches of bare wall above. Each wall had 16 vertical mesh tunnels, called them stairwells, soldered to it. 4 horizontal corridors opened off each stairwell, leading to 4 nesting boxes. This means 256 boxes in total, each capable of holding 15 mice. Okay. Well versed in rodent populations from dozens of previous experiments, something that's kind of apparent when you realize that the enclosure was called Universe 25, Calhoun anticipated that his mouse paradise could reliably and, more importantly, comfortably house 3,840 mice. For that, though, he needed to pick the proverbial Adam and Eve of his mouse Garden of Eden. Calhoun eventually settled on 4 breeding pairs of mice specifically bred for the experiment and handpicked from the most healthy specimens from the National Society. Calhoun's experiments eventually caught the eye of the National Institute of Mental Health, or NIMH, who were intrigued about the observed effects of overpopulation in rodents, specifically if any of the observed phenomenon could be applied to humans. To this end, the NIMH gave Calhoun access to a small piece of land that they owned in Maryland and the funding that was needed to construct Universe 25. The stated goal of the experiment was simply to see whether a perfect society would flourish. Initially, the experiment proved successful, and the mice lived in relative harmony, and within a year, the population of 8 super healthy mice had swelled to a respectable 620 members. Great care was taken to ensure the mice were taken care of. Food and water, it was unlimited, which allowed the mice to eat or drink whenever they pleased, and there was always space and clean bedding available, so females could rear young in peace and safety.
Sounds like a typical illegal immigrant.
Despite this, Calhoun noticed that after day 35 of the experiment, things started to go wrong.
35 days.
There was a noticeable drop in population growth. While initially the population of the mouse heaven had doubled every 55 days, after day 315 it doubled, according to Calhoun's notes, approximately every 145 days. This made little sense, as there was still ample space to house another 3,000 mice. In addition to a drop in population growth, Calhoun also noticed an abrupt change in behavior in both males and females. Social bonds broke down, and male mice, without a reason to defend their territory or food source, since both were plentiful, became dejected, forming cliques that randomly attacked one another for seemingly no reason. Females similarly began abandoning young or even attacked them, and slowly but surely both males and females simply stopped breeding. In the lead up to this, certain of the male mice...
So, I mean, I guess, you can see that when you get too much, as everybody's been saying, let's say, we absolutely have had it too good for too long. Humans did not evolve for complacency. We have to make stuff up to be a victim of.
Sure.
You know, that's a failing path to be going down.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Are real. Victimized. Victim.
Nail on the head, Soil. Nail on the head.
And complacency is the point. You know, I would say people talk about cancel culture. No. It's coward culture. It's compliance culture. That's the root of everything that we're dealing with. Just if every person who wasn't a crazy leftist or who disagreed with the lockups, for example, or the mandates would have said no and refused, it would have been done within a weekend.
Yep.
But everyone, and this is where, for most of our problems, I blame the right more than the left, because the left are evil bastards, but they only get away with it because people on our side just sit on their ass and do nothing.
Yeah,
I make excuses.
I completely agree.
I could sit here and name you every excuse that they would say of why they have. Well, we have jobs and the left does. Like, I could just go down the list of every excuse and look at your country.
Yeah, and you know, that's something Tim talks about all the time. It's like, yeah, I get it. I get that you're in a situation, but I've likened it to the idea of, you know, that you're standing out on a ledge. You're out on a tall skyscraper, and you're out standing on your ledge, and you're like, I'm good, I'm not falling. It's like, all right, maybe you're not falling right now, but you're standing on the ledge of a skyscraper. You could just come on inside. And it's so frustrating, again, that, you know, especially that, you know, the atheism is something I put out very strongly, because not only do I not believe, but I don't, while I don't want to take religion away from anybody, I want to create a society where, just like alchemy, it's just kind of faded into the background because we don't need it anymore. I think every value that comes from religion that is just good for a society can absolutely be done without having to believe any particular thing. And also, if you do believe this, that, or the other. And so my whole thing is like, okay, we both agree that we should care about things like family. We should care about things like community. We should care about things like gratitude and grace, merit, capitalism, things like that. But we're on different teams because you got there from God and I got there from moral philosophy. Like, how does that make sense? That's why the left is winning. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.